From an orphaned child in a small German town to one of the greatest musical geniuses in history. This is the extraordinary story of Johann Sebastian Bach. Johann Sebastian Bach was born on March 21, 1685, in the city of Eisenach, a central German region known for its forests and strong cultural traditions. Coming from a large family of musicians, Bach grew up in an environment where music was part of everyday life. His father, Johann Ambrosius Bach, was a violinist and teacher who introduced him to the fundamentals of music, awakening his early talent with instruments such as the violin and viola. Bach's childhood, however, was marked by profound emotional hardship. At the age of 9, he lost his mother, and at 10, he became an orphan. He then moved to Ohrdruf, where he lived with his older brother Johann Christoph, an organist at St. Michael's Church. During this period, Bach made significant progress in his musical education. Alongside his studies at the local school, he stood out as a dedicated and curious student. At home, under his brother's guidance, he learned to play the organ and harpsichord, skills that would become central to his career. Driven by an almost obsessive curiosity, Bach sought to learn beyond what was permitted. It is said that he secretly copied sheet music by great masters, such as Johann Pachelbel, often working late at night by candlelight. This intense dedication may have contributed to the vision problems he would face later in life. At the age of 15, following a tradition of the time, Bach left his brother's home to pursue his own path. In 1700, he traveled on foot to Lüneburg, covering nearly 300 kilometers. This move marked a turning point in his life. Lüneburg was a vibrant city with strong French cultural influences, very different from the more conservative towns he had known. There, Bach worked as a choir singer while continuing his studies and actively seeking to learn from the best musicians in the region. During this period, he came into contact with important figures such as Georg Bohm and frequently traveled to hear renowned organists like Jan Adams Reinken. These experiences greatly expanded his musical vision and deepened his interest in organ composition, which would become one of his defining specialties. At the beginning of his professional career, Bach held various positions in different cities, often facing challenges. In Arnstadt, where he worked as an organist, he gained attention for his creativity, but also stirred controversy due to his musical innovations and independent personality. He frequently clashed with church authorities and fellow musicians, demonstrating his unwillingness to compromise his artistic vision. He later worked in Mühlhausen, hoping for stability, but again encountered resistance from conservative religious leaders. In 1707, he married his cousin Maria Barbara, with whom he had several children. The following year, he moved to Weimar, entering a period of significant professional growth. There, he established himself as a virtuoso organist and talented composer, eventually being promoted to concertmaster. Despite his success, Bach faced professional frustrations, particularly when he was passed over for an important promotion. This led him to seek new opportunities, culminating in his move to Cothen in 1717. In this environment, free from the demands of church music, he focused intensely on instrumental composition. During this time, he created some of his most famous works, including the Brandenburg concertos, as well as suites, sonatas, and keyboard pieces, many intended to help educate his children. However, his personal life was struck by tragedy in 1720 when his wife Maria Barbara died suddenly while he was away on a trip. This loss deeply affected him. The following year, he married again, this time to Anna Magdalena, a talented soprano who became both his partner and collaborator. Together, they built a large family, and several of his children went on to become musicians. In 1723, Bach moved to Leipzig, where he took the position of musical director at St. Thomas Church. This period was one of the most productive of his life, marked by the creation of monumental works such as the Passions according to St. John and St. Matthew, along with numerous cantatas. However, it was also a time of frequent conflict with local authorities, who often failed to understand or appreciate the depth of his music. Despite criticism, lack of recognition, and professional difficulties, Bach maintained an extraordinary level of productivity. His work was deeply rooted in his religious faith and characterized by technical complexity, innovative harmony, and expressive depth. In his later years, his health began to decline, particularly due to progressive vision loss. He underwent surgeries performed by the physician John Taylor, but they were unsuccessful, and he eventually became completely blind. Even so, he continued working until his final days, dedicating himself to compositions such as The Art of Fugue, a work that encapsulates his musical mastery. Johann Sebastian Bach died on July 28, 1750, at the age of 65 in Leipzig. His funeral was simple, and his death went largely unnoticed at the time. However, about a century later, his work was rediscovered and recognized as one of the greatest achievements in the history of music. Today, Bach is regarded as one of the greatest composers of all time. His legacy is immense. His works profoundly shaped Western music and continue to be studied, performed, and admired worldwide. His genius transformed Baroque music and laid foundations that still resonate today, securing his place as an eternal figure in the history of art.